from those false beliefs to the higher. Or lift to the higher. Right? That's another way of putting that, is purifying. Or purification. That's what the word means. Right? To lift to the higher. To be able to lift whatever it takes to lift to the higher. Now, you can't do that unless you're willing to turn about and face yourself. That's what it takes. You have to be honest. You have to be willing to face yourself. You have to be able to face what's going on. Because life is terribly profound. It's not a trivial dance. This turning about sometimes is called remission. In Christian thought, they took this idea from the Greeks, and the baptism for the remission of the right, a baptism for the repentance for the remission of sins. That's the same word, aphesin. It's a turning, right? And it also is a turnabout, so it's a metanoia. It's a turning about and freeing. So it's freeing from the lower, turning about, which is a metanoia, right? Which is some curiously translated repentance. But look here. That's only possible if you get in touch with a certain kind of vitality. Because this game takes vitality. You got to get somehow. You got to get some energy. Got to get some energy. Well, let's see whether we can apply this here. To be able to maintain the good that you've achieved and yet to reach and struggle for something that's important to you. That's called protection, right? To be able to hold fast to the higher in that struggle and recognize it as higher, perfection, right? To be able to get out of the beliefs that block you from recognizing what you see, that's purification. To be able to do that means you're going to have to face these doubts. That's a turning about and facing those doubts. One of the tests of this whole game, by the way, it's a curious one, is that when these curious beliefs block us, it dams up. It actually dams up energy. Good old vitality. It dams up energy. It blocks it, see, because its force is to keep everything on its own level. Therefore, when beliefs are seen through, therefore that energy now is displaced from its former function and it becomes available to the individual. And therefore, it now can be used towards the higher and more perfect goal, which is philosophy. Now, these 5 things, classically, are each a kind of goodness. When you talk about goodness, you talk about something that benefits the object who receives it. Now, goodness is naturally communicated, no restrictions to it. It's available to anyone who's open enough to receive it. It's an outflowing, it's an outgoing flow of goodness, pronoia. And it manifests itself in these 5 ways. And these 5 ways, therefore, if you can then see how they function right here in this dream, you should then be able to see the dream and talk about it now in that language and see whether talking about it and seeing it through these terms benefits you. Right? Now, remember I asked you what was it like to compare the dream work we did with your everyday world, and you said you could see certain things about it and through it. In the same way, what's it like now going through what we just did, both in seeing your dream and seeing your everyday world?
Well, I do recall the idea of protection. After I started running on the beach, like he told me, it was like I knew what, it was like I wasn't afraid anymore. I knew what I was doing. I knew what I had to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I had a lot of energy, vitality in
Yeah.
doing it.
See?
I gave up my belief about the way to go, which is purification.
Yeah, training about purification.
And I was holding fast to an idea to the end because I said this is what I needed to do. So that, I held on.
Yes, yes.
But I see what I was doing what I need to do during the day. Like what kinds of states of mind I need to hold on to. I keep giving up because of the beliefs. And it's a struggle. It goes back and forth.
Yes, because beliefs limit our vision. And that binds us, that puts a boundary to what we are and what we see.
And I don't believe it. It's like I don't believe that that's...
It's very difficult finally to say, hey, maybe this little thing, everybody knows what a belief is. They're trivial. They're not like rocks and stones and mountains and grass, right? They're just an idea. More powerful than anything else, isn't it?
Yeah. Powerful than whatever Superman was.
Now, behind this is a whole interesting metaphysics. Now, here's the real problem for man, I think. Is it worthwhile seeing how all of this fits together into a unity? That is, if what we're saying can be said at all, then what can be said is that there is somehow some source of dreams which we call the Dream Master that is in fact acting through these categories for your good, using your life, using all of those images, communicating to you in a very, very beautiful and simple way with great utility, efficiency, insight. Yeah, images good. Then it may be that we might be able to risk a good statement. The Dream Master is the function of providence. And providence is something that has often been said to be akin to the divine. Therefore, man gets in touch with the highest aspect of the divine, in that sense of which what he needs most benefits him. That's the most important part about it. In the area where he needs help, in the area where his own development is blocked, where he needs help, the dreams then give us that kind of help. And benefits us, not by giving solutions, but just holding up a mirror so you can see both yourself and your everyday world.
That's right. It didn't give me a solution.
No solution.
It presented my state of mind and what I was, what I have to do with respect to the state of mind, beliefs that I have. There's no, it sounds like he's telling me something like stand up, do something, but what does that mean?
No.
It doesn't.
It means what you already know.
Yeah, but and I'm saying that's not going to work. I'm going to do this other.
No. Good. Well, let us see now.
Thank you.
What? Back to the beginning.